example of this would be somebody who is studying, say, the reasons why TB happens is a person who is studying science in the problem space. A person who is developing a drug is a person who is studying the science in the solution space. Now, somewhere they need to meet, okay, and that meeting may not happen, okay, and you need to have the orientation first to look at it in a problem solution approach, okay. And of course there are all those missing recognitions, and there is of course the disconnect to the problems, okay, as he mentioned very clearly. One of the reasons why vibrant ecosystems like the Boston area or the Silicon Valley work is also because you're getting bombed by those problems. There are people who might be tracking what you're doing to explore, you know, if you could produce a solution for that problem. And that is itself a big issue that comes up. All said and done, Indian institutions are weak in their, despite all the talking about innovation, they are weak in their IP pipeline. How many institutions have IP portfolio, right? In India, the IP wave started only in the 90s, okay? And today too, how many institutions have IP portfolios, right? Very few, right? So that is a factor. There is a weak pipeline, all said and done. In the middle comes the part where you're really dealing with technology and IP management, okay. Now in this part you will clearly see that this is a community of people who are very rare, almost non-existent. That includes, by the way, the entrepreneurs, the technology managers, right? People who want to take it to the next step, who understand what needs to be done to take it to the next step. Even people like Vijay, Chandru here, or people like me, in the sense who are looking at technology management, okay, in the sense of building mechanisms to take it to the market, okay. There are also this problem of institutional mechanisms, okay. Like he said, the mechanisms did not exist for entrepreneurship. Fortunately, ISC exists as an independent entity, okay, it could do that. CSIR labs, when last time I had a technology to commercialize, couldn't do that, okay. We had to take it all the way to the cabinet, and fortunately in 2009 there is a DSIR notification which allows scientists to create companies, okay, and that of course now makes it possible for, and it's by the open to everybody, not only CSIR, ISC, IITs, so it spans the whole range of people. So these mechanisms take time, and that is an issue, okay. We are a learning nation, we are a developing country. There's also a very critical gap, a funding gap in the under 10 crore kind of segment, okay. VCs are looking at large pots of money to deploy, okay, and many of our technology entrepreneurs are not looking for those large pots. What they need is money to take them to the next stage, and that is typically sub 2 crore kind of levels, okay. Those today in India, that pocket is primarily filled in by the government funding agencies today, okay. There is hardly anybody who works in that space. Or leave the talk about angels and all those aside, okay. that all angel investments put together amount to nothing in India. Okay, so the point is there is basically a big gap in funding in the early stages. Okay, and this needs to be filled up. In the later stages, one systemic problem is that Indian industry and technology and entrepreneurs basically can be very successful without taking technology risk. Okay, they don't need to, right? When you can make money in the stock market, or VCs go and invest in the stock market in listed companies, venture capitalists, right? You know there is a problem over there, right? And that is partly that's one reason why, you know, I'm saying that it may not be wrong at all, but it is an issue for this whole process. Okay, and they are looking for investment ready technology, and those are basically not there. Okay, they are looking for stuff which is ready to pump in, and that is a problem. And there are some other issues which relate to the ecosystem. So let me just tell you briefly about what we are doing. I'm sorry I'm overshooting, but give me a couple of minutes more. So the first thing, the problems, the mindset issues. I run a series where I'm trying to bring people who represent role models to scientists, okay, who think that you can go beyond science and you can actually commercialize technology successfully. And there are several people we have been calling. Professor Friend is actually the Cambridge University, you know, represents a typical academic, but he also has founded 3 companies, and he is a Cavendish professor, occupies seats of J.J. Thomson and so on and so forth. Dr. Garda is an Indian entrepreneur, scientist entrepreneur, who has set up the entire Garda chemicals industry on his own technology. We also do several other things. We are trying to mold student thinking. Today we have a vibrant club, a student club, which is trying to do various things. We also showcase technologists separately, try to give a separate identity within NCL to technology, not merely to the Bhatnagar awardees and the science achievers, but also to the people who achieve technology results, okay, which is a painstaking process, you know, which is somebody has taken a lot of pains to get there, and you know, I think that should be rewarded. We also try to bring connects between problems and solutions, okay. So for example, we run a series called an Idea Catalyst Workshop. We try to present people who understand problems and markets to an audience of scientists who might have toolkits to solve those problems, okay. Rather than let them discover it themselves, let's do it actively is the agenda. We also have another activity where we are trying to, for example, last year we focused on water. This is a venture center effort where we examined what are the opportunities in water. Okay. In fact, this is open, by the way. This anybody can have a look at. There's a website for this. And this is actually something where we brought in also entrepreneurs to examine opportunities in the water space. Okay. On the IP side, it's very important to make patent filing attractive and easy. Okay. You may not know, but many places the scientists are busy writing patents. Okay, They do not have any support to file, to conceptualize, to write, understand who has filed what, and so on and so forth. Okay, these are practical issues which one needs to understand. So we have created mechanisms by which scientists in NCL don't write patents. We get it written. We do very rapid filing so that people don't have to wait for the publications. We try and make available analytics. We are into portfolio planning. These are some things which look simple, but these are essential to actually build a idea pipeline. There are also issues relating to building capabilities in this space. So we have a small initiative called a Venture Center Library, which is a public library open to entrepreneurs and technology managers, focused on content, including market research, by the way, which is very expensive for entrepreneurs in India. We also run another series where we look at people who are developing models to take markets, to take technologies to the market. We also run workshops and courses. This particular one is with the exploring the Cambridge model of in UK, of taking it to taking science and developing companies out of it. This is the DSIR notification that I briefly mentioned to you, right? This came out in 2009, and I'll tell you that today a lot of organizations are just struggling to convert this into mechanisms within the institution which people can follow. Okay, this is just a notification of the government which says that you can permitting researchers to start companies. Okay, now how do you convert that into a mechanism which works within an institution is itself a challenge. Okay, we have done something in NCL, but this is something which is quite important. Funding gaps. We have internally in Venture Center something called a proof of concept funding, and we have also raised money for seed investments. These are trying to fill in different gaps. There is also a useful database, by the way. This is Venture Center's funding database. I saw that your case paper has a reference to that. It is basically, it is probably the most exhaustive list of funding sources for technology entrepreneurs in India. It was featured in the DARE magazine. There are several other aspects relating to how to encourage entrepreneurs to participate in the risk. One model we are trying to explore is where NCL comes in a lot longer and partners a company as far as possible to try and reduce its technology risks, because one of the big issues for Indian companies is that internal competencies in those companies to absorb technology, to build it, to take it further don't exist. Okay, and they struggle with that, and even struggle hiring people to do that. Okay, so how do you do that is a big challenge in science-based enterprises. Finally, last slides. This weak pipeline of investment-ready technology is something which is a challenge. There are two initiatives. One is when in Venture Center, which is we call the lab to market model, where we are trying to go to bring it to a place where it is investment ready. take a few ideas and take it to investment ready status. But there's also another CSIR initiative which will be announced shortly, maybe in this coming month, which is trying to deploy a similar model across CSIR labs. Okay, and that's a lot more ambitious project, which I hope succeeds. The final slide. You need ecosystems, and ecosystems have to be created in a very systematic way. The NCL Innovation Park and Venture Center basically is intended to house small startups and public-private entities in technology innovation. There is an IP facilitation center, there is a lab block, there is a library, there is various other resources and funding, pockets of funding. We bring in investors and so on, an artificial environment to sort of create an ecosystem. It's an inorganic effort to create an ecosystem where really speaking none exists. Okay, so that's my conclusion. I just wanted to point out that there are several practical issues that one needs to address, and it has to be multi-pronged. It can't be a single a solution that you're pointing to. The largest problems in India today, in my opinion, for innovation productivity are basically a weak pipeline and a weak ecosystem. Okay, all said and done, there aren't enough ideas coming, and one of the things we can do to kickstart it is actually create pockets of bureaucracy-free, flexible grant funding for proof of concept work. I don't see why at small scales you need to have so much bureaucracy in funding. If you're using any of the DBT, CSIR, DST grants, you will know that it is a pain. Okay, and there's no reason why it should be like that. If you want productivity, just give the entrepreneurs a chance. So that is one of the key things which I want to recommend. I hope maybe it will reach some of the as part of the conference proceedings to the Innovation Council or somebody like that, and of course build technology managers. There is a shortage of people who can actually take technology to the market. And also finally, this is also a hurdle, which is the research institutes need to basically also empower their research scientists and not and also be a little more liberal with IP. Okay, and that is something which will help scientists hopefully take more to the market. Not necessarily take an overbearing approach as far as IP is concerned. Okay, thank you very much.